All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow, and remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest for you. I'll give you a couple of words about my guest. Loss, faith, testimony, awareness. All the way from Conway, South Carolina. Put your hands together for Miss April Fore. How are you?
I'm great.
Sure, I got that Conway in there for y'all.
Conway, okay.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in Conway now. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
They hear it. No, thank you so much. I am great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having this space. Thank you.
You are most welcome. And first and foremost, I thank you for being my guest because your story, hey, look, the premise of my show is no one is worthless, no story is worthless. You have quite a story. Behind you, there are stories that we're going to get into first and foremost. All right. So let's talk about the main reason why you're here. Behind you, I see that E.G.G. egg and yes. The Adventures of Agnes. Grace Godwins. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What kind of adventures are we going to have?
All right. So Grace Godwins is a little girl who was diagnosed with a very rare health condition, and she is a miracle just to be here. Mm-hmm. And she is rocking life. The first adventure, she gets a friend. She learns about friendship. The second adventure, she gets hearing aids. Girls with Turner syndrome, they have to get hearing aids, or not all of them, but they sometimes have challenges with their ears, with their hearing. So she gets hearing aids in the second book. Mm-hmm. And as she goes on, she's going to the third book. She is going to get a promotion. She's going to become a big sister. Okay. And so that's going to be a huge change to go from an only child to a big sister. Okay. The fourth adventure, she will go on. She will have surgery. A lot of girls with Turner syndrome have to have heart surgeries. They go through different challenges with their heart and the valves and things like that. So she will be getting a zipper because it kind of looks like a zipper. Once they have that heart surgery, it kind of looks like a zipper. So Emma Grace gets a zipper. And the fifth book will be, she's going to save Christmas. So she's going to be in the Christmas pageant and she's going to save Christmas.
Come on through and look, all right, Emma Grace, come on through and save Christmas for us now, man.
Okay.
Seriously, look, come on, please.
Yeah.
Now that's fascinating, and we're going to touch a little bit more on Turner syndrome in just a second. But about how many books would you say there are in a series?
Right now I'm at 5. I've published 2, so those are, the first 2 are out. And then I have 3 more in the works. And that's where I am right now. I would love for this to grow. I am letting God lead the way, lead my pen. Okay. But right now there's definitely 5. There's definitely going to be 5.
Okay. All right. And the age range is,
the book, Emma Grace in the book is 5 years old, but it's like between like that 3 to 8, because it's 3 to 8. Parents, when you have parents, we know how to read a story to make it end fast. We know how to, take some things out, add some things in. So it's definitely parent friendly to manipulate what you need to manipulate. But I believe the colors, they're so vibrant, they're so bold. So it's very appealing to the eye. So the kids really like it, So yeah.
So look, we got the book. Are we going to add some merch to this? We getting some merch?
Oh, absolutely. So we have
talk to us now.
Emma Grace, there's t-shirts. We have her little, Emma Grace Godwins t-shirts. There is a doll in the works, a plush doll that is coming out. I'm so excited. I received the sample pictures yesterday, and I'm like, I can't wait to get my hands on her. So I want this to grow, but right now we have our t-shirts and we will be having a doll soon.
All right. Okay. Ooh, look. Word with Ty Brown was all about their merch. Okay, man.
Yes.
Black people pushing their merch, man. Push it. Push
yes.
it. Push it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So, all right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to let you all know. I may get a little emotional these next couple of minutes, but that's okay. I'm a champion through. That's what I do. But we're going to talk about Turner syndrome and the loss of a child. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about Turner syndrome. Now, I read basically 1 in 2,000 women are affected by this.
Yeah, it's between 1 and 2,500 to 4,000 women, like between one, out of that number. So it's very rare. It's not, it's not like Down syndrome or anything like that. It's very rare. The chances of it happening again to a family, is very rare. It's not genetics, because after she was diagnosed with Turner's, I took like the genetic testing and things like that. And it's not, it's nothing that you can do. It just happens. So it's a rare disease that only happens to girls. They have a 1% chance of making it. And 98%, 99% of them will result in miscarriage and or like stillbirth. And I read there's a statistic that about 15% of miscarriages are due to Turner syndrome girls. They're usually Turner syndrome girls. And but that 1% that makes it, they are miracles. We call them butterflies because they're girls with Turner syndrome are missing the X chromosome. They're either missing it entirely or they're missing partial. And so they're called butterflies because the X, chromosome looks like a butterfly, and they're resilient and they're spunky. I've met a few women that have Turner syndrome. They may be, short in stature, but they're feisty. They're go-getters, because I feel like if you're that 1% and you make it, you have no choice but to be amazing and awesome and be that fighter. So the little girls that I've met are just amazing. And so they're short in stature. They sometimes they have moles. There's different characteristics, different physical traits that they have. They don't they develop late in puberty, so they can't have children on their own. They can't, so they'll usually adopt and things like that. And they have a lot of heart issues, like I mentioned before, a lot of hearing issues. They take sometimes if they want to to grow a little bit taller, they usually do like hormone injections and things like that, just to also balance out other health challenges. So I mean, they have their health challenges, but they're amazing. That 1% that make it, yeah.
Well, man, first and foremost, shout out to all those, butterflies out there. Spunky. I like fiery. I like spunky. I like like getting after life, despite whatever, comes your way, or whatever, society, or, anything, man.
Yeah.
Hats off to y'all. Now, how can we bring more awareness, to the public about, Turner?
Well, so when my daughter was diagnosed with Turner syndrome, I just started looking at it because I never knew about it. So, they have multiple groups. They have a lot of groups, a lot of organizations. We put on a walk for her to raise money for Turner syndrome. And I think my book, like, you don't know about it until you know about it. And that's what happened, and, but with my book, it's different. It's different from, a pamphlet that you can pick up from the doctor. It's kid friendly, and it's bringing that awareness, but in a great, fun, entertaining way. And it's making you curious. I mean, I talk about facts about Turner syndrome and things like that, but I also, it sparks your curiosity. So you're like, hey, let me learn about this. And then that causes people to do more research themselves. So my book, with the series, I want it to be that starting point. I want people to start there because, we have like a little glossary in the back and things like that. But I want it, it's the starting point. And then on the back, there's links to Turner Syndrome Foundation, the Turner Syndrome Society, to continue on that, you know, learning about Turner Syndrome. And then that it's like a ripple effect. Then, you know, somebody else hears about the book and then they go research and things like that. So it just builds. And I think with the books and having, you know, a space like yours to speak about it, more people will learn about it.
Oh yeah, man! Look here, I'm definitely gonna get the word out. Look, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, you know, like especially in this day and time when health is like critical, it's key. Well, it's always key, but like especially with this pandemic and everything going on, like health is key, and to draw more awareness to like everything that needs, that we should be aware of. I'm gonna do my part, and to have you here sharing your story with us, I just thank you. So
yeah.
look,
Thank you.
that was good. All right. Now all right. I'm gonna say this. All right. I'm gonna get through this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna get through this.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So dealing with the loss of a child. Let me just say, I'm a parent, and I can only imagine. The stress and just everything that comes along with it. If you can, just tell us the story behind, how everything came to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 2014,
Mm-hmm.
I found out that I was pregnant. I was so happy. I had just turned 30. It was like literally like, I think 4 days after I turned 30, I found out that I was pregnant. I was so excited. I was a nanny. I had a nanny service in Atlanta, and I love kids. I always worked with kids, started as a neighborhood babysitter, grew that into a business. I worked with special needs children. So, it was just in me to work with kids, to be with kids. Like I love kids. And so I was so excited. My family, we were so excited. And, to have a kid that looked like me, I'm like, yes, I get my own, I get a mini, I'm really excited. And so it was at a 9-week checkup where they do a lot of the screenings. And my sister came down from South Carolina and my girlfriends was there. And we were at the ultrasound. This was the first time that we were going to actually see her. Like I'd heard her heartbeat, but this is the first time we're going to see her. So they gave us the pictures and we're all in there and we're looking and I'm like, oh, they look all weird, we're like, yes, we're looking at this like little alien figure, but we're all in love and I'm hearing her heartbeat and, really excited. And at that time, I didn't know if it's a boy or girl. And because it was 9 weeks, so it was super early to know, determine sex. And so when they gave us the pictures, we were in the waiting room and we were getting to, we were about to hear the results. So I told my sister and my girlfriends, I was like, hey, y'all can go ahead. We'll let you know what the results, are. Not thinking anything. I'm just like, they're going to tell us, fine. But when we were in the waiting room, we were looking at the ultrasound and we noticed there was like a little lump on our neck. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And, we're just making little, jokes or whatever, because we don't know. And so when Emma Grace's father and I went into the office with the doctor, we were sitting in there and then he came in and his face was just no expression. He sat down and I was still oblivious to everything. Like I didn't notice that, I know that he, didn't have any facial expression or anything, but I mean, I was still ecstatic. I'm still like, I'm so excited. And he said, well, I have some bad news. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay. So it was like something was coming. It was like, that warm sensation that comes over your body, like when you get sick. And so like my temperature started rising and he said, I got bad news. And then I'm like, okay. And then he said, well, there's some chromosomal abnormalities. And then my ears, I could feel them like going. It was like radio silence. You know how you can hear the like, like it was like that, like ears were off. And it was And then I couldn't hear what he was saying. Like I heard it, but it was muffled and everything. And he said, she could either have Turner syndrome. If it's a girl, it would be Turner syndrome. If it's a boy, it could be something else, or it could be Down syndrome. And I was like, okay, well, Down syndrome, I'm fine with that. I've worked with children that have Down syndrome. I'm like, this is my baby. I don't care. This is my child. I prayed for it. I don't care. And then so when he talked about Turner syndrome, and his bedside manner was just horrible. He wasn't consoling. And I get it. Like, if this is your job and you tell a million people this a day, that's fine. But this is my first time hearing it. So that's how you should treat me, And so he said, well, she could have, if it's a boy, if it's a girl, she could have Turner syndrome. There's a 1% chance of her making it. And then that was pretty much it. He gave me like a pamphlet, and then he was like, the nurse is going to, do a karyotype test. That's where they test the mother's blood to see, what you were having, or, and everything. And I said, okay. And we did, we drew the blood. While all this is going, I'm like screaming hysterically, like, because I'm like, what is going on? So I'm trying, Emma Grace's father is trying to like console me and everything like that. And I'm just going crazy. And so, they're drawing the blood, and the nurses were very nice, and they were trying to, they were talking to me and everything. And I mean, I don't know what's going on. I'm just crying. And so I had to wait 14 days. It was between 10 to 14 days. I think it was 14 days. Yeah. To get the results back. And that was very painful. You go through every emotion that there is. One day you're happy, one day you're sad. I mean, I went through a lot of emotions, because I'm like, this is a really cruel joke. Like, for someone whose whole life is taking care of children, and now something is with the possibility of being wrong with my child. So it was just like, you have all those emotions. You're upset, you're mad, you're hurt, you're scared. And then you're still excited, because it still is a baby. But it's like, soon as you have that joy and you're smiling and you are excited, then you're reminded, like, something could go wrong. Something, is going wrong. And so what was on her neck was, it was an indicator. It was called a cystic hygroma. So what happened was the lymph nodes were not draining properly. So that lets you know there's chromosome abnormality. So she was building up with fluid.
Oh, wow.
And so 14 days later, they called her father. They told him, they broke the news, and then he broke the news to me that she did in fact have Turner syndrome. And so I was like, okay, we're going to just deal with that. And so I had to make the very tough decision. I prayed over it for, a couple of weeks, because I would go to the doctor every week after that. And, I'm praying like, okay, it's going to reverse itself. She's going to be okay. We're going to deal with it. And she wasn't. She kept building up with fluid. And, like at 10 weeks, she was weighing what she should have weighed at 24 weeks. So her body was just building up with fluid. And so it was, we knew that it was probably the result was going to end up being a miscarriage. And I prayed over it. And so I had to make the decision to decide to send her back home to God. And that was very difficult. But I knew for my mental, just with me, that I wasn't going to be able to, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to recover if I did have that miscarriage. It was, I just didn't think I had the strength at that time to deal with that. So I had to make the toughest decision of my life at that moment. But I also felt that I held on to her as long as I could. But then I felt like, am I being selfish? Is she hurting? Is her little body taking on more than she can deal with? How is she doing? Because I wanted to keep her. I'm like, no, but I'm like, at some point, I'm like, she's, her body's not developing properly. So I'm like, is she hurting? And no one could tell me that, So I'm like, so I made the best decision as her mother. I'm like, I don't want her to hurt. I don't want her to feel pain. I don't know how that feels. So I made that decision, and I moved back to Conway with my family. And because I needed to be with my mom, I needed to curl up and get in the bed and have her hold me and rock me and tell me it was going to be okay. And she did. And then it was a part of me that was just like, okay, so this happened and he made it happen and there's no mistake. So at that time, of course, I didn't know something greater was going to come from this. I didn't know that there was a purpose, you know, behind this. I didn't know what the purpose was, but I did know that God wouldn't do this for this just to be the end. So, a friend of mine, she was like, well, there's a purpose in your pain, and that, it sticks with me. And there was purpose in my pain. It was for this. It was for me to be that voice to get it out there. So May 23rd, she went back to heaven. And on her birthday, which was November 8th, or my due date, which would have been her birthday, November 8th, we had a walk for Turner syndrome. And we raised about $2,500. We got awareness out there. People came to Conway from all over. We walked. There was butterflies everywhere. It was just a beautiful moment. And I took something that was so tragic, but I brought awareness, and we raised money for other girls that are here that, that were that 1%. So I didn't want to stop talking about my baby. I never do. I have a 3-year-old. I talk about her all the time. So, and I include, Emma Grace in that. So I knew that I never wanted to stop talking about her. I always tell my story because a lot of times people don't talk about loss. A lot of women, sometimes it is painful and things, but I'm like, this is my story. This is my testimony. And when I talk, I'm able to help other people. And it also helped me with the grieving process of talking about her. And, so we had a assignment in school. I was in school at the time for elementary education, of course. And there was an assignment to write a children's book, and I wrote the children's book, and I was like, okay. And I was like, wow, okay. And it was about Emma Grace. It was the Adventures of E.G.G. or something like that to the effect. And I got an A, but my professor was like, you really went into some detail. She was like, it was not, you didn't have to go in that, that deep, but but it was just laying the groundwork for the series. So that was in 2015, I believe. And then I started the series in 2019. So I'm never going to stop talking about her. I want everybody to know about her. And so that is my story. That is the story of Emma Grace. And her last name is different. It's Godwins because God wins. So I needed him to be in there. So her name is Emma Grace Godwins.
Put the little, see, now you know what? You put the little spin on me. Because I'm like, well.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna, okay. What? Yeah. I mean, like the story itself, but now you. All right. Okay, little spins at the end. All right. Okay, yeah. I see you. Okay. You know what? Wow. That's all I can say. Like, as I said before, when I got the story, look, I'm not. Yeah, y'all. I was a little, Carl Thomas. I was a little, emotional around it. But, I knew, like, this is rare. And I want to bring awareness to things that are rare. And you have a story to tell. This is a great story. You just told me pretty much, everything and how this has helped you, And, man, everybody, look. I don't know if there's going to be a walk this year. Hopefully there's a walk this year. We
won't do a walk this year, but we will do one in next February. So February is Turner Syndrome Awareness Month. Okay. So, yes. So I released the book, my second book this year, because my goal was to be very intentional with the second book and the series going forward. Now, when I wrote the first book, I was just like, I wrote a book, I was really excited. Like, but now, so every year, every February, I will release a new book. And so we will do, if anything that takes place, it will take place in February because that's their awareness month. And I always, but I always, my family, we release balloons in November for her. But yeah.
All right. Look, hey, get behind it, man. Look, people, Conway, South Carolina. It's not far from this place they call Myrtle Beach, but don't nobody really hang out there. Everybody be in Conway. I'm just trying to let y'all know, man. Go to Conway in February, hang out, get on this march for Turner syndrome, raise this money.
Yeah.
Let's do this, man. Let's do this. All right. Okay. We ain't going to that other place. We're going to Conway. All right. No. I appreciate you coming on here, telling your story. I've just been in awe, like the whole time you've been talking, like, oh my God, like, look, yes. So we believe in giving people their flowers around here. So we're giving you your flowers. All right. So this brings us to pretty much the end, but I have one more question. Actually, before I even ask that question, let me ask this question. We've been talking about like the Adventures of, Emma Grace Godwins. Where can we go get this?
Oh, absolutely. They can get the book off of Amazon. And so it's on Amazon, The Adventures of E.G.G, or you can look it up by my name, April Fore, April LJ Fore, because it's kind of hard to find. But if we keep getting those reviews, it's going to get up there. You're going to be able to find it. And then the eggstories.com, they'll be able to purchase. That's our website. They can purchase it from there. They can find us on Facebook, and our Facebook tag is we are The Adventures of E.G.G.
Okay.
And on Instagram is the Egg Stories. So yeah.
The Egg Stories. All right. So look, people, Instagram, Amazon. Look, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I know everybody watching this has an Amazon account. I know.
Yes. Go. It's available on Prime. You can get it the next day, pretty much. Look, yeah.
We ain't even gonna talk about that. Look, go ahead and get the 30-day free trial and just have it delivered to the crib.
Yeah, exactly.
But remember to like unsubscribe so you don't get charged. But you can go get that book and have it delivered to the house. So.
Yes, and leave a review.
Leave reviews. They are key. Thumbs up. Leave those reviews as well. That's what's up, man. Yes. So, Miss April Fore, I have to ask, what is the one word that best describes you and why?
I think the word that best describes me would be boom. Boom. Boom.
Okay, no. Look. Give me. I love it. I've never heard boom. I've heard a whole bunch of other words. I've never heard boom. You got to come on through with this. Boom.
Okay, so a friend of I used to call a friend of mine. I call her Boom, and we're so similar. So I think boom. If you meet me, my personality will get there way before I do. Like I'm just boom. I'm in your face. Mm-hmm. I'm fun. I'm spunky, upbeat. I'm gonna find that positivity in the situation. And I'm going to do my best to make you feel good, to make you feel appreciated. So boom is it's like that hug that you need at the end of the day. Boom is something that you don't even know that you need it, but when you get it, you're like, oh, I needed that. So I am that boom. I'm just, I'm boom. I don't know. I'm
boom. I like it. I love it. Boom. Look here. Boom. That's your word. Boom. You heard it here on World with Ty Brownlow, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, April 4th is boom.
Boom.
Look, my word is going to be sunny. Man. Because of pretty much what you said. Your personality gets there before, like, your man. Bright, yellow. All right. Man, like, radiant. and
Thank you.
positive when the sun comes out. I know, hey, look, I know I'm happy when the sun come out. Like, look,
Yes.
yeah. And I'm in Chicago, so we didn't have this snow and cold. So I'm loving when the sun comes. Yeah, right now. No. Look, I just thank you for being my guest. I love your story. People, The Adventures of E.G.G, Amazon Prime, website as well. They
Yes.
can go to the website as well.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. I thank you for being my guest. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Word with Ty Brownlow. I have been your host, Ty Brownlow. You can follow me on social media on all platforms at Word with Ty Brownlow. You can also go to my website, tybrownlow.com, get this wonderful interview, plus other great interviews. Man, look, April 4th, I thank you for being a guest. We out, people. Peace.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.